Yeah. So Laura, this necklace is actually, my husband bought this for me from Sayulita, where you've been with me, Laura, because I have an adventure mastermind, and for part of it, we do 3 retreats and that year, and we did one in Sayulita, Mexico, where we all surfed. So um, you don't have to know how to surf, by the way. We learned how to surf. And so my husband got this one of the times that we've been to Sayulita, and I get so many compliments on it. Oh my gosh. Men in particular love this necklace. I don't know what it is. I never get compliments about any other necklaces I wore like from men, but like I'll be in the airport and guys will be like, that's such a cool necklace. So anyway, I'm glad that like we all agree it's a lovely necklace. So hey everyone, woohoo! Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, let me see here. I'm trying to like start my event in Facebook, which they make it so difficult. But anyway, so today I want to talk about what it is that is more important than what other people think. And that is what you think about yourself. Okay. So, in terms of self-image, we may have heard things like self-esteem or, self-confidence, but really it's how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, right? How you see yourself. It's interesting because I'm doing my postdoctorate at Hopkins right now. And someone's telling me that the thing's not working in Facebook. Hopefully that changes, but you never know about Facebook. So anyway, so I'm in, and we're studying personality disorders right now. And it's so interesting to me because basically a personality disorder, a big part of that is how someone sees themselves, right? How someone sees themselves. So when we are having this certain perception of who we are, a big part of that is sort of the self-concept we have about how we deal with situations, who we are in relation to other people, how, like, are we extroverted? Are we introverted? Like the way we think of ourselves, not so much personality tests, right? And the other thing that's interesting is it only becomes a problem when it causes problems, which I just love because everybody thinks there's this like, out there, this person that like, you might have a personality disorder. Like, I wonder if I have a personality disorder. It's like, hey, it only becomes a problem when it's a problem, which is funny because that's what I tell y'all when we look at thought models, right? When I look at thought models, we see, oh, it's only a problem once I think it's a problem. Now, when it comes to personality disorders, it's like some people don't think it's a problem, but it's still causing problems in their lives. Okay. So that's a little different. But similarly here, it's a problem if you make it a problem. Okay. We're assuming that you're a healthy individual and functioning as best as we all can be right now. Okay. So, in terms of self image, right? Why do we have these certain concepts about ourselves? A lot of it has to do with childhood, right? Like, what did our parents tell us about ourselves, right? What did what did teachers tell us about ourselves? What happened to us? Like what sort of events shaped us, right? And it's really important to remember that those things can happen, but we can still change how we choose to interpret those situations at any point, right? So we can say, oh, I have this like fucked up self-image because my parents were so critical, right? They criticized me all the time. Didn't know, oh, hey, what's up? Everybody's popping on. Send me some hearts, send me some love. I know that Facebook's having some issues, but that's why I'm doing it on Zoom too. So hopefully you can get on the Zoom link. But yeah, we can still take that event and shift it, okay? Now, I want to ask y'all, because even though I can say all this, we all care about what other people think of us. It is natural, because if we didn't, from an evolutionary perspective, we'd probably be kicked out of the group and ostracized, and then we'd like die on our own. Okay. Alone somewhere from an evolutionary perspective. But now we're here. Now people go on retreats. They like want to be by themselves, right? Like I have too many people around. So from this perspective now, right? Yes, we do tend to care about what other people think. It's important to reflect on that to some degree. What's more important though is how are your actions impacting others, right? Not so much how they think about you. Because some people are like, oh, well, if I didn't care what other people think, I would just go around being a total bitch. And that's not true, because you cannot care about what other people think about you, but still care about how your actions impact others, right? Which is different than how they think about you. So, one thing I wanted to ask you to do right now is think about, how would you like other people to think about you? And I want you to type it in the chat box, okay? Like, and I'm going to still try to see, hopefully, that Facebook fixed their issue there. But I want to hear how you want other people to think about you. Like, and think about specific people. First, think about the world. Like, I would like the world to see me as inspirational or intelligent or whatever, right? And then I want you to think about how you want like your mother to think about you, or your father to think about you, or your siblings to think about you. So take a minute there and just type in some things. I just want to see what you got going on. Yeah, Sarah says, I want people to see me as kind. Right. And it's really important that we're careful there, right? Because when we want people to see us as kind, then we worry a lot about, oh, well, if I make this decision, will it lead them to not thinking of me as kind, right? So type in some more stuff. Some of you are sending the messages just to me, but not in the general chat box. That's okay. Yeah, Cindy's saying, oh, it disappeared there. Okay, yeah. Cindy's saying, I want people to think that I'm brilliant. Yeah. So I have like my thing is, I had a big struggle with one when I was in high school. I wanted to be seen as witty. I just thought being witty was like the coolest thing. I kind of hung out with a lot of different groups in high school. Like I wasn't with just one group necessarily. But I would say the people that I most spent my time with, I mean, we were kind of trippy. I wouldn't like, I was definitely not gothicy and wearing black and that kind of thing, but a lot of like some of my friends were, and we would ride our bikes onto the Stanford University campus and like get stoned and like read Catcher in the Rye and have all these philosophical discussions in the eucalyptus groves that we called Sherwood Forest. I mean, it was just magical. It was awesome. So anyway, I had this friend, Mike Westbrook, who was so witty. Oh my gosh. And I was just like, damn, I wish I could be witty like that. I wish I could like think so quickly, right? And then I was just like, I kind of let go of that after a few months, because I was like, that's just not going to happen. That's just not my jam. I'm not witty, right? I can tell stories. I can do that kind of thing. I'm just like not that witty, right? I'm not the kind where I could be like, oh, snap. Now what do you want to say? Like, that's just, I just suck at that. So later, I was like, my intelligence became very important. I could tell that I would get so offended if someone didn't think I was smart, right? Because I would hang out with like very fancy, smart people, but I wouldn't like dress the part, right? Like I would just kind of show up as me, dirtbag climber, whatever. And if someone was just kind of blowing off my intelligence, I would be like, I didn't rest in knowing I was intelligent. I got pissed about it and tried to make sure that they knew that I knew what I was talking about, right? Justin is saying the world's smart, creative storyteller, parents loving, passionate, caring, and successful, and siblings smart, funny, fun to be around, a mentor for their kids. Right. So, and hey, y'all that are hopping on, send me some hearts and comments so I can see who's on there because it's not showing it to me. So anyway, so we have this idea of what we want people to see us as, right? The world, our parents, our siblings. What about your friends? What about your colleagues? Think about that. How do you want them to see you? Do you want them to see you as competent? Do you want them to see you as brilliant, right? Do you want them to see you as, oh, hey, Melinda, caring and grounded? Yeah. Yeah. What about your kids? Some of you have kids and you're like, I want my kid to like me. Like my husband cannot stand the idea that our daughter like not like him. I'm like, dude, you got to get used to that because she's going to run you through the coals if you're worried about her not liking you, right? Hey, Christina. Yeah. So we have our ways that we want the world to see us. Now, what I want you to do, think about and write in the chat box or in the comments, what do you think you need to accomplish in order to deserve that? So in order to deserve them thinking of you that way, what do you think it'll take to be worthy of that? Oh yeah, Christina says, I want my kids to see me being authentic. Me too. That's important to me too. Yeah. And honest. Except when I tell her, don't tell them how old you are so that we can get in. I'm just kidding. I try not to do that because I'm like, oh shit, I'm kind of sending mixed messages here. But yes, my infamous large as my head mug. Friends, sensitive, deep colleagues, collaboration. Yeah. So some people might think, I will be worthy of people seeing me as intelligent once I have a PhD. I mean, that's even gone through my head. Like I have a doctorate degree. It's a clinical doctorate degree. And I'm like, maybe I should get a research doctorate. Whatever. We can think once I make like one of my besties, he was like, I can't get married or like feel cool about like me and my relationship with my dad until I make at least 150,000 a year, right? That was like the, okay, now I deserve it. Yeah. So Sarah posted here to finally have a kid. Yeah, for some people, it's having the partner, having the family, like their parents may see them as a failure, right? If they haven't had that, or in your own mind, I haven't lived life until I have this, right? So you see, we have all these sort of qualifiers that we think, okay, once I achieve these things, other people are more likely going to see me that way, right? And so the tricky part is, but also the like blessing is, check this out. How you want other people to see you is how you really want to see yourself, your self-image, right? Justin put here, after I create and produce an app that's used by a bunch of people, after I own a house and have some certain amount of money in the bank, and after I find a long-term relationship, right? I mean, this is all we have on the list. Like, I need these things. What I want you to really grok today, right, on this today, is that you want other people to think that of you because that is ideally how you want to see yourself. Like, think about that, right? Yet we want that external validation. But I just want you to know that deep down, that is how you want to see yourself. Okay, so just kind of absorb that for a minute. How we want other people to see us, really how we want to see ourselves. We just don't feel justified in seeing ourselves that way until we've accomplished these things and other people validate us. Well, you know what? That hardly ever fucking works. It doesn't work because we can't control what other people think. We can't control how other people live their lives and what they're going to think of us. We can't control sometimes. Like some people are born in a certain environment that doesn't offer them certain opportunities, right? They're born in certain socioeconomic situations, right? Certain countries that aren't democratic, that don't allow them, like some places women can't go to school or they can't drive, right? So there are very real limitations there. Yet we will have these like external things, right? In every situation all over the world, we all want to be validated externally, right? So don't shame yourself for that, right? It's a little hand on the heart, hand on the belly, hug, like I am feeling like I really want someone to tell me these things, right? And I'm suffering because they're not. Or I really want to achieve these things to feel worthy, and I haven't, so I'm not feeling worthy, right? But the next level is I want you to start understanding that you can start having those thoughts about yourself without achieving those things, right? You can see yourself as smart and intelligent without having ever gotten a college degree or a master's degree or a doctorate degree or however it is, right? I mean, one would venture to say that most people that have those degrees already thought of themselves as smart. You see what I'm saying? So we can shift our self-image by not requiring the external validation through people telling us things or seeing us a certain way, and through accomplishments, right? I always think about, like, I've seen the Dalai Lama several times live in person. And whenever I go, there's always these protesters that are like, he's the Antichrist and he's evil and all this stuff. And he's causing all of these issues, right? And I'm just like, wow. So, like, literally, people will think anything about you depending on their worldview and what happened in their lives. We don't control that, right? You could be the best behaving person in the world. Maybe you make a mistake, maybe you don't even make a mistake, and then poof, shit blows up. So we can't rely on what other people think. We can't rely on our accomplishments because that's not who we are. Y'all, you are born with inherent worth. We all are. We are all born with that sense of, I am, well, not so much a sense, but with the quality that I am perfect as I am. I was created perfectly. We have the sense that we're not often because of the shit that gets sent our way, right? So I also remember another story with the Dalai Lama, when a group of Western Buddhist teachers were asking him, you know, what are your teachings on self-hatred? Like, how do you manage that? And he was like, what are you talking about? And he was asking his translator, like, can you clarify this for me? What's self-hatred? And once they clarified, he was like, oh, like, that is bad, right? He's like, we actually spend our whole spiritual lives trying to overcome self-centeredness, and self-hatred is one of those, right? But also the concept of self-hatred was so foreign because he was raised in a culture, in his environment at least, who knows outside of his environment, but in his environment where I was like, you have Buddha nature, right? There are, you know, in Tibetan culture, it's taught you have Buddha nature in you. We all do, not just humans either. Dogs and cats and mosquitoes, they have Buddha nature. So think about what the difference is when you are taught that you have Buddha nature, that you have the ability to be fully awakened, wise, and compassionate and kind without needing anything else outside of you, right? Oh, my dog just came in to say hi. Probably because I was talking about Buddha nature. Say hi. Hi. This is Lamu. She's a Lhasa Apso. So Lhasa Apsos guarded the Tibetan temples. On the inside, y'all. Tibetan Mastiffs were on the outside because they were big. Once someone got inside, they were like their little alarms going off. Anyway, so Buddha nature in my dog, right? Buddha nature in us. That is a very different way of seeing ourselves than being told we were defective from the start, right? Oh, original sin, or you made like you have some core deficiencies and your whole life is to perfect those, right? There's all these other concepts that come to us depending on what culture we grew up in that tell us we are less than, versus being told, wow, we are perfect as we are. We have everything we need inside of us to achieve what we want to. Now, you can be told that and then still have external things happen to you and external things be told to you that make you doubt that you have Buddha nature too, right? So, yes, my husband just used the toilet. Sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear that. Anyway, so that's live. I love being live. Anyway, so when we have these concepts, they can be shifted, right, by external things. But I want you to understand that it is not an inherent thing to feel less than, that we are taught that we receive messages about that. So our self-image, if it's shitty, comes from shitty thoughts about ourselves, right? Our self-image comes from the way that we choose to think about our current circumstances. So if we want other people to think we're smart, it means we wish we saw ourselves as smart. And we can, right? All of this is accessible to us by the way that we choose to think about our current situation and ourselves. So I would love for you to choose one thing that you're going to do today that's impacted by what we just did, right? With thinking about how other people think about you, thinking about what you think you need to accomplish in the world to be worthy, and starting to really come to terms with the fact that what we really want is to see ourselves that way, and that is accessible to us simply in our thoughts, okay? It's accessible to us simply in our thoughts. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't strive to study and learn more. But just like I was saying earlier, like if you want people to see you as smart, oh, thanks for the love, y'all. If you want to see yourself as smart and you think you need a PhD to validate that, guess what? You're going to be more likely to get that PhD when you think of yourself as smart already. If you think you are not going to be worthy until you earn a certain amount of money, guess what? You're not going to earn that amount until you're already seeing your life as abundant. Because in a scarcity mindset, you're going to be making scarcity choices that don't lead to that abundance. If you feel like you need a partner or a child or a certain type of social situation, guess what? If you're going to create that, you need to believe that you are worthy of a partner, that you are worthy of all of that, right? That's how we create that. So the crazy mind fuck is that we need to cultivate these loving, positive, affirmative thoughts about ourselves and our inherent self-worth, right? Buddha nature, our inherent self-worth first, before we even start accomplishing all those things, because that's what will help us accomplish all those things, okay? So what is a thought about yourself that you could turn around? What is a thought, a limiting thought that you have about yourself that you can turn around and start to see yourself as already worthy. You know, if I look at all the reasons that people need coaching, all of my clients, all of my students in Freedom School, right? One-on-one clients, mastermind students, me at the core, our main issues really stem from a fundamental lack of self-worth, of seeing ourselves as worthy, right? We don't think we're worthy of love. We don't think we're worthy of accolades. We don't think that we're worthy of joy and happiness. So we self-sabotage. We create upper limiting problems. We do all kinds of shit like that, right? And that's at the root. And that's like a lifetime of work. So I don't want you to think this is like overnight, but every little bit you start to see the improvements. Like one of the most revolutionary things you could do is be kind to yourself, right? Give yourself self-compassion when things get hard. Cut yourself some slack. Be gentle with yourself, right? That's one of the most revolutionary things you can do for yourself in this lifetime and for the world, because in you seeing your inherent worth, guess what? You start to see it in other people. Some people think, oh, like some people criticize life coaching because they say, oh, it makes people so narcissistic and self-centered and me, 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 me. Here's the thing. Narcissists think that they're better than other people, right? So I'm not saying go around and be like, I'm so awesome and you're not, or I'm better than you. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about seeing your inherent self-worth and knowing that everybody has that, right? I feel like that's one of the strengths I have in my coaching practice, because it's like, let me turn this off there. You know, when I look at my client and I tell them like, I see that you're capable of this, I mean it, right? I mean it. I'm not like, oh, maybe it's them, but not you, right? No, it's like, I know it. I see it. I want you to know that for yourself, right? I want you to see your inherent self-worth and that you are totally capable of cultivating that. And when you validate your inherent self-worth, it doesn't make you an asshole. It makes you more compassionate and more kind, and makes you see everyone around you and their potential, right? And their inherent worthiness. So go out and love on yourself and start not listening to those tapes, those old tapes with those old stories, and start cultivating those new ones, okay? All right, y'all. Bye.